Hi, everybody. This is 1007 April 27th, 2025. And just short of burning the midnight oil. We're going to be doing that as always every night. I had one person, yeah, everything's working. Yeah, I had one person say, "Who has time for this? Who has time?" Well, we're making time. We're making time because this is really important. This is a national security um, risk, and it's you're talking about traitors. You're talking about treason. You're talking about the murder of my son. You make the time. You make the time, and if you have to burn the midnight oil, that's what we do. That's what we do to get justice for Richard, because what was done to him cannot be allowed to go, um, just swept under the rug. We must hold these people, these animals, these monsters accountable for what they did, because it's so big, y'all. It's just it makes the Iran Contra look like child's play. It really does. Like, miniature. If you've ever been to Holland, they have the miniature train town. That's what the Iran Contra looks like, just like a little toy compared to this case. And so when you see it not being addressed, right? It's not being addressed in the media like it should, um, because or by you know, like Veronica Escobar, or Ted Cruz, or um, Graham, Senator Graham. And anyway, you don't see them addressing it because it's so big. Um, I think they're well, we know Veronica Escobar is cartel tied. We know Veronica Escobar is absolutely up to no good in all of this and needs to be held accountable for what she's done. She really is a bad actor in this whole case. Very bad actor. Very. It's so despicable what she has done. And so, she denied us a congressional hearing on top of that. So it just gets worse and worse, right? And that's why we cannot just, we have to make time. We have to make time to address all of this. And because Richard's case, 1,731 days, thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Sending love and prayers for justice. Thank you so much. Um, and thank you for the sunshine, right? The justice and the stars and angels. And God has been, you know, we cannot be smug and self-satisfied. We have to be humble and trust that God is going to make this all happen, because because it's so big, it gets a little overwhelming, and you just take one step at a time, because you cannot let it go, because more and more people are going to be hurt. And you have a justice system, a criminal justice system there in El Paso, where people are getting hurt every day, and it extends over the border, because El Paso is a border city with Juarez. They are like Siamese twins. They're connected, just because they have the fence, uh, in between them, doesn't mean they're not connected. They're very connected. I live there. I know. Used to be, if you go and look at the old vintage postcards and everything, there used to be a tramway that you could just jump on and go back and forth from Mexico, from Juarez into El Paso. But because we have been infiltrated by cartel tied um, operatives that have exploited that beautiful uh, those beautiful cities once upon a time, because El Paso is an ancient city. It's on a grid, and it's right there. The water used to flow so much more, and even way before my time, the water used to flow even more so. And so the water is being controlled, and the criminal element came in. And now Juarez is like one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And El Paso is being so exploited and becoming more and more dangerous. Um, we didn't even know how dangerous it was becoming, that our own military, like Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, would be so compromised, would be cartel tied military, criminal trafficking tied to all of this with the contracts. Because this is about military contracts. It's all about money, it's all about greed. It's all about greed with blood on their hands. They have blood on their hands, absolutely. And they're so greedy that they don't mind to kill for it. And you see that the Walmart mass shooting is so intertwined with Richard's case because of all of the timeline, the timestamp events that really give you a clear picture. If you have a blank wall in your home or apartment, start putting up a timeline. It's very, very interesting. And you have to make time for it, right? You have to make time because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And if you get involved and you see what's happening, then you absolutely know that this is a national security emergency and that our future is at stake. Our future is at stake. Our children's future is at stake. And I know that a lot of the politicians say that. I'm not a politician. I'm not making money on these things day in and day out. Even though um, we spent uh, a lot of time in these years putting together our cases, and just putting them together to and putting together a legal team, putting together a direction on where we could possibly go because of the corruption in the judicial system, right? The Not only are the judges corrupt, and you've seen that even with the arrests and that. If you want justice, you have to prepare for it. You have to absolutely, it's called epistemological self-consciousness, which means, to be aware that there are crooked and compromised judges like Judge Samadrano, like federal judge Guadarrama. I mean, what else do you need to know about Guadarrama? He is managed by Mayella. He's managed by Mayella, cartel tied, all cartel tied, and absolutely part of the Walmart mass shooting operation. And so, you know, uh, and I'm flipping from one thing to the next because that's how my mind is working right now. But we are putting together our lawsuit, and we have been putting it together, and we feel like now is a good time to launch it because um, we believe that Montoya was really a big part of this decision, because he failed to install properly, because clearly with that 2028 stamp, everyone can understand that that is tampering, that that is a fraud. And yes, let me read what you're saying. Yeah, that's a fraud, and people can understand that he campaigned on bringing the Walmart mass shooting to trial, that he was going to prosecute it, that he was going to get the death penalty for Patrick Crucius. That's how he campaigned, and that he's been on this case since the very beginning. That he was, right there with Mayella and the DA, knowing that Mayella is in the federal courthouse, knowing that Mayella is in the FBI office, knowing that Mayella is at Walmart cybersecurity. I mean, this was an operation. There's no other way to to explain it. Why the Mayella Crucius family is in all of these very important places that were investigating the Walmart mass shooting. And so, when you realize that here you know, Richard, a total hero, it's so difficult to be a whistleblower on Fort Bliss, right? So difficult. But he did it. He did it. And for him to be murdered the way he was murdered, I mean, any kind of murder, right? Um, and what I was in my mind thinking about is just all the cover up around it, all the cover up, all the shaky soldiers, all of the obstruction, all of the interference from Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe and, of course, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, all of the interference, all of the obstruction, all of the false narrative, all of the asymmetric warfare tactics, and the cover up. I mean, it's been so criminal. So when you have all of that, how do you get justice when they are so brazen? That they have to feel comfortable that they're never going to be prosecuted to act that brazen, right? And they were, I mean, just despicably brazen throughout this whole thing. I mean, we were intimidated, vile, vulgar, sex cult stuff. Remember the phone calls that we trace? That's going to come into play with this. Anthony Swafford, the MP, that was told by the guard mount a false narrative about Richard. But you know what really got me with that is, it's like you're really scummy. You're really scummy because you're an MP. You're supposed to go after criminals, right? So if they're telling you a false narrative, that should have put more fire under you to find Richard if they were given such a bad false image. So either way, he should have had fire underneath him to find a missing soldier, right? A murdered soldier, and yeah. So, and he was just like, lazy, any excuse to be lazy, to not do his job. And I'm just thinking this is the psyop, the culture that they have. Like everything is like pleasure and everything. You can just make excuses and not do your job. Not, your oath is not important. This is the Medal of Honor ethos. Where did that go? I was always talking about that for, all the time because there was such a lack of it. So, with all of that going on, how do you submit um, a lawsuit, some litigation, and get justice, right? So we've just kept getting more and more and more hard evidence in our mountain of robust hard evidence. And we've just been, patient, working very, very hard behind the scenes and even online to get more and more and more information and prepare for this lawsuit. And, just trusting that, God would provide the right time. And I think Montoya gave us the right time because he's such a fraud. And it's so clear people are so let down by the criminal judicial system. Millions and millions of taxpayers' money has been spent. There's been a seal on the case. Um, you know, uh, um, Joe Spencer got this open checkbook of taxpayer funds that took away from other cases, right? They took away from other cases to give him, for what? For him to lie, blah, 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 and not do his job. We don't even have a competency hearing for his client. And yet, not a competency test, no evidence put in, and Judge Sal Madrano and uh, James Montoya, they just, oh yeah, okay, we'll give Patsy a hug. We'll let I mean, that was what was that, a Mayella cousin? Was that a Mayella cousin that did? I don't know. I don't know. Um, but it's like just such a circus. It's just such a betrayal of the whole criminal justice system. And so, with that, we feel like now is the right time because um, the you have judges that are acting illegally getting arrested. Hallelujah. You have the people so sick and tired. They see clearly now. They see clearly. And 4 years ago, we didn't know what was going on, did we? We didn't know. And so now we do. We see clearly, and our evidence um, is is even more um, clears, fills in all of those holes in the puzzle. People have a clear view of what the scene is, and we're adding more. We're adding more with our evidence, and we feel very, very, very strong and positive um, about the case. So we're moving forward, and it's kind of emotional, to be honest with you. It's because you have to rehash everything. It's just pretty emotional. So let me read some of these statements here. Thank you, Anicia, for the prayers and the love. Danielle, thank you so much. Where is the third party investigation? Exactly. You're absolutely right. She promised a third part on media, right? She's caught on camera saying it. And we know now that the FBI, El Paso field office with Jesus Nieto, Eddie Nieto Jr., is compromised, and of course his wife Cynthia Hernandez and the DC, what is it, the intelligence there. I need to memorize that, the intelligence there, because it's huge. It's so important. It's so big. What she was working for. It's such a conflict of interest, and we know that he, uh, was a very bad player in all of this. And now we're getting word another one. Okay, we're more and more information is coming out. Once I secure all of that information, I'll absolutely release it to you. But there's another very, very bad player in the FBI. Um, and so she, of course, we don't even have a medical examiner that's qualified in El Paso, and he's cartel tied. He's cartel tied and tied with Veronica Escobar, and he's tied with Bliss Avenue, with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with the fugitive Danae Katzen and her Fort Bliss fugitive husband, Jonathan Ambrose, right? Well, I don't think he was on the fugitive list, but he was arrested with her for all the fraud. But don't be fooled by the narrative, because they are much bigger than what they're reported to be in the newspaper. He is absolutely a huge player in 14380A, veteran in the VA, and all of that. He's a huge player, and the media just really watered it down to just make him look like he's just some kind of con artist, but he's much much bigger than that. So and for Mario Raskin Ortiz, the medical examiner, to be connected to that whole thing, this group is connected. Okay, there's so much connection. Like Lieutenant General Sean Cardona Bernabe with Kyla Cardona. And Kyla Cardona, she has like, I don't know, over 20 aliases. And there's a lot of funny business. She does tricks. She does tricks. And she's not faithful. She is whatever it takes. Um, so her reputation is so bad, y'all. It is so bad. Uh, for for a general to have somebody with and I know I had this post on saying, "Oh, she was my boss." One of the things that you learn when you do Bible study is that the devil was this beautiful angel, right? This beautiful, powerful angel. And so when the devil came to you, it's like it's not like this ugly orc thing, right? That's making you do it. As what was that one show? The devil made me do it. But anyway, um, eh, eh, you know, eh, eh, this group, and from the very beginning, they'll come and they'll say, "Oh, I'm a veteran. Oh, I care so much. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm your friend, and I'm your sister, I'm your daughter, oh, I love Richard. I love Richard so much," and they're part of the criminal group. They are absolutely two-faced. I think we call them two-faced, but they give all this perception of honor and goodness, but they're completely the opposite. They're completely the opposite. They're absolutely animals, and absolutely the worst type of human beings, because they make their money on the criminal trafficking and the laundering of money, and the exploiting of children and our military and the American people. And and part of that exploitation is to, fool you so that you don't look hard, right? That you don't look hard and that you don't take the time. You think, oh no, couldn't possibly be that. And it is. So they are really very, very bad. And, of course, Veronica Escobar, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall woman, she's a total witch. She's a total witch. And yet she can play the part and say, oh, I care about Hispanics so much and Hispanic women. And I sit on this committee and I sit on this committee because I care. And she's completely the opposite. She, doesn't care one lickety split. Matter of fact, she exploits it to destroy it. So, and she absolutely, look at what's happened to El Paso and Juarez. If she cared about Hispanics, she cared about Hispanic women and all the trafficking and all the rapes and all the terrible trafficking going on, human trafficking, then she would have absolutely had a third party. She would have had the congressional hearing. So them by their fruit, and her fruit is really rotten. It's really stinky, and it's hurt many, many children and women, and the whole Juarez economy, which means it hurts families, it hurts men, and men's ability to um, succeed for their families. And it really is such a destruction of of the meant order of things, and so you can tell that she's up to no good. So where is Ted Cruz? Right, exactly. Where is Ted Cruz? He wrote that wonderful letter, giving all the perception And I can tell you this, he absolutely knows what's happening in this case, okay? He's absolutely knows. And he has the ear of President Trump. He has seen in the presence of President Trump. It is, he wrote that wonderful letter, and he absolutely is informed. And yeah, it's maybe he will, and he absolutely knows the Walmart case because he came down. I think he flew down the very same day, or was it the next day, right? So he absolutely, I think he walked the scene. I think he walked the scene. So he absolutely knows about the Walmart case. He knows about the false narrative of the Walmart case. He knows about the Mayella Crucius. He knows about he knows that look, all the media know it. All the media know it. All of the judges in the courthouse know it. We have sent out notification after notification after notification to all of these people. All of these people know my husband's email, okay? I'm just telling you, they know it. And they have all this information, all the media, and yeah. So it's going to be interesting, um, who will do the right thing, who will do the right thing for all people, right? For all the people, and to stop this very, because it's been going on for decades. To get to this point, um, they have been exploiting this area, this front door to the United States for a long time. And they just got so brazen, and they have, the people in the county courthouse, the county jail, um, uh, in the DA and in the federal court and the medical examiners, and also over in Juarez, and they have like the likes of Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, and the very, very crooked El Paso Community Foundation. And they have the very crooked, I have to say this, the very crooked Mormon um, um, community. It's very crooked, y'all. It's so crooked, because uh, that is a common denominator in this case. And and I hope you understand what I mean about that, because we all know in our own faith that there's crookedness, even in our own faith circles. And in this case, it is the Mormons. It's the Mormons, and they're very involved in this in a very, very bad way. So, and of course, we're part of the Annunciation House, which is these what are they called? The non-government NGOs. The NGOs, um, so this is so big, like I said, and God is going to have to um, show us the way to make it right. And we need a lot of arrests, um, and we need to be very, very strong, um, because it is absolutely for Richard, but it's for so many more. Look at what Lieutenant General, how he felt about Vanessa Guillen, like she was some kind of thorn in his side, the way he said he didn't want another Vanessa Guillen situation. And the way he meant it was to obstruct and to interfere with Richard's case, to give an order to do that. That is such a dishonoring of Vanessa Guillen, instead of, you know, honoring her by not letting the the corruption have their way. Um, but no, he was obstructing and interfering so that the criminal trafficking could have their way and continue. And so it did, and it went turbo force, didn't it? With the emergency intake center, 10,000 children at a time, hundreds of thousands of children, that started in March of 2021. Was before then. It was before then, but it went turbo. It went absolutely it was turbocharged by Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, and that is absolute treason. It's absolutely because that went all over the world, and these are mostly dead, and that didn't go just alone. There was a lot of weapons and a lot of ammunition and a lot of drugs involved, and we see that over 50% of the weapons that were meant to go to Ukraine went into the hands, was redirected into the hands of the Mexican cartel. That is congressional. That's a congressional hearing, right? And so, it's thank you. I have a new person, Christina Connor. So much is brushed under the rug. Absolutely. And we're sick of it, aren't we? We are so sick of it. And I don't want any other family to have to do this. For almost 5 years we've been doing this. Um, yeah, we need to expose them. My prayers are with you, and the giants will fall. Yes, absolutely. And they're not giants. Uh, they really aren't. I think that they are sitting on some old giants' shoulders or whatever, but they've got very messy. They've gotten very brazen. They've gotten very sloppy. And thank God for us because we've been able to expose. I mean, the 2028 stamp, I mean, look how sloppy that was of Montoya. And we know that he has other ties, right? He has other ties inside of this Walmart mass shooting and Richard Halliday's case, ties that are absolutely conflicts of interest. Um, and so, besides the Michael Mayella, besides the Mayella Crucius family, this is a Mayella Crucius family. And Ambrose. So Mayella Crucius Ambrose family. And that's all cartel tied. Um, and of course, you have the media having also conflicts of interest, making quid pro quo deals to keep very, very important information from the people. And, El Paso Matters doing the quid pro quo with the Mayellas, right? And you have to understand, they are a 501c3. They're supposed to be neutral. We give them the 501c3 so that they can report, right? That they have extra money so that they don't have to worry so much and they can give us news, give it to us straight. That's what those 501c3 gifts are from us as taxpayers. We give them that as a gift, and we want the news to us straight. El Paso Matters absolutely abused that and violated that. And so there, we know that there is ongoing and active investigations, and that Bill Hicks promulgated false stories and did like a quid pro quo, access to the federal courthouse and everything to keep it quiet that, the Mayella Crucius family is right there in El Paso, and that it's a lie that Patrick Crucius just randomly out of nowhere picked El Paso. That was just such a lie, and that he's, the false narrative of the whole white supremacy and races. That's all false, and and that's not me saying it. That's Joe Spencer. That's Loretta Lynn Hewitt. That's because of his mental capacity. And then we have what I just posted. I almost forgot to talk about it tonight. There is just like I said, a robust mountain of evidence that we have, and we just posted a little bit. A man on the 3rd of August, 2019, that identified the shooter, that was face to face with the shooter, that the shooter even shot at him because he was looking at him in the eyes. They had met eyes. And I posted a little snippet, and it said he was all in black. Well, Crucius had khakis on. Okay. And he said, and he had a mask on. a mask on, all in black, and a mask on. And so Montoya, you know, they don't want to prosecute. They don't want this information to come out because they're obstructing and interfering with the case. They sealed the case with an individual that has no right to even seal the case. The seal is botched, and until the people absolutely understand that Penny Hamilton has no authority to seal the case, so that seal is has no authority behind it, right? Has no meaning behind it, because she is not an elected judge, right? She's not an elected judge. She has to be elected to be in that position, and she's not. We have the law to protect us. We have the law to tell us if a court has full jurisdiction, then the judges that sit on that court must be elected. That's the beautiful Texas Constitution. And in 2015, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, right, that magistrated Patrick Crusius, in 2015, it was given full county-wide jurisdiction. Before then, it didn't have it, had partial jurisdiction. But in 2015, it was given full county-wide jurisdiction. And Veronica Escobar knew this. She knew this. She was the county judge, and she kept that from the people. That's why she's such a bad player. She's such a deceiver, right? She's such a witch. She's such a witch. And she kept that. And what she did is sign off for the paychecks of these imposters because that court used to just have one judge and it went to five judges. And so now it has five judges. But guess what? None of those judges are legitimate. They're all imposters. They're all impersonators. Why? Because not one of them has been elected by the people that's required by the Texas Constitution. And so that is very, very important. I'm going to repeat it and repeat it, repeat it until it sticks because I know it took me a while to understand it enough to tell people. I was very confused at the beginning, like, what? That whole court, the court is important. The court is powerful, and it has nobody sitting on it as a judge that's legitimate. So they're all compromised. They're all compromised. And Penny Hamilton, who sealed the case, and none of the other big mass shooting cases have been sealed. Why was this mass shooting case sealed, right? So it was sealed by Penny Hamilton. She had no right to do it. She's the one that signed the arrest warrant on the 9th of August for Patrick Crusius. She's the one that magistrated Patrick Crusius. And she absolutely had a duty to make sure that he got his competency, mental health competency hearing or address that because from the very get-go, as soon as he was arrested, they absolutely knew that he wasn't mentally competent, that he has severe mental health conditions, and then you see the narrative that they wanted all of us to believe, and it was total deception that he could do headshots. See, this witness that comes out at the very end of the video. He talks about witnessing this woman in front of him getting a headshot, and we know that there were others that were murdered that day with a headshot. Okay, with a headshot. Now, you know, think about the mental level of a person that is willing to shoot headshots. Okay, Patrick Crusius isn't one of them. He's just not one of them. The whole thing, him surrendering to a Hispanic officer twice, twice, the timing of the whole thing, not having any kind of training beforehand, the manifesto not fitting who he is, right? It just doesn't fit. It's like the glove that doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit, because it says, I'm going to go down, I'm never going to surrender, and, whatever. And then, he surrenders twice. Um, and the mentality of a shooter that shoots headshots is a professional executioner, okay? It's a professional executioner. And the way that's why this is sealed, but we do have, with all of our evidence, we do have are in possession of hard evidence that tells you that there are others that were killed that day with headshots. And then he also says that the bullet missed him, right? The one that went after him missed him. And so there were missed shots, but we know that Patrick Crucius only had 30 bullets, right? In the picture, there's no time for switching out. He doesn't have another magazine. There's only one magazine, and if it was totally full, he only had 30. 30 fit in that magazine for that type of gun. So there is, they didn't want a trial because they didn't want all this evidence to come out, and they didn't want the witnesses, because who's this man in black, right? Who's this man in black with a mask shooting at this man, uh, you know, and shooting someone in the head. They are a cold-blooded, hired um, killer. That's who they are. And Patrick Crucius doesn't fit that. He just doesn't fit that. He's like, no, and he's like, um, peacefully surrendering, and they don't bag his hands for any of the gunshot residue. He's afraid of blood. He's afraid of blood, and he says, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm not into racism, and I have no idea of what happened." And you watch him in court. All they could do to make him look bad was to let his hair grow crazy, not feed him, dress him in, which is a criminal, to dress him in that jail garb with the chains and all that, make him look scary to people. Um, but the you got Mark Stevens falling asleep beside him. He's not worried about him. They okay, and then in San Madrano, lets someone hug him. Right? Let someone hug him. He's supposed to be this person that did headshots, and they're allowing someone to hug him. Nothing. It's just crazy. And now we have this witness, and of course you have Glennon Oakley Jr. Saying that the shots were also in the mall. So, and Men in Black. So who are the Men in Black with the mask? With the M4s, and uh, what were the bullets for all of these different victims? And what angle? What's all the forensics? What angle did they come at, and where were they located? And where's all the cameras? Where's all the cameras? And then the really, really big one is, how much did Joe Spencer get paid? He wanted the open checkbook. We know of millions and millions. Okay. How much did he get paid for this circus? And that's open records. That should absolutely be open records to know how much Sam Madrano got paid. So, join us in asking for open records for how much he got paid. I think that we all need to know. We all need to know so that he can pay it back and pay it with restitution, because this was absolutely the Mayella Crucius uh, evidence itself shows that this was an operation. Okay, that this was an operation, and yeah, and it is absolutely intertwined with Richard's case. And so they just try to milk it for everything. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, she did everything she could to extract from one of the victims for the victims' funds that she's not even related to. So, yeah, it's a lot of fraud, a lot of crime, and it all needs to be checked. It needs to be checked, and they need to be punished. Um, and for us to have that beautiful scene and that postcard where you have the tram going back and forth from Juarez to El Paso, if we want that kind of beautiful society, then we have to have a working criminal justice system that's not cartel affiliated with this um, Mormon underlaying, you know, um, criminal organization. I'm not saying the entire Mormon community is criminal organization. I'm saying there is a absolute um, common denominator that those that are in this criminal organization are cartel tied, and also they have ties with the Mormon community. So yeah, and that needs to be addressed. And let me tell you, if I was a leader in that church, I would address it. Right. So we'll see. We'll see um, how that all comes out. Yeah, and we are doing the lawsuits, and I will absolutely keep posting because of uh, getting all this information. Uh, More information's coming out with the Eric Johnson and um, Kyler Cardona connection. Of course, she's married to the JAG NCOIC, Ismael Cardona Gonzalez, but she had a very, very, very tight, very personal relationship with Eric Johnson, and that's all coming out. So, thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. Look, it's almost been an hour, but it's just so much. And thank you for your patience. And please share. And God bless. And I'll be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.